Today I have somewhat of a different video to bring before you. I would like to put a little bit of a conspiracy claim on it, the Admiral conspiracy claim, because these things sort of correlate with each other. There's a lot of dots to be connected here. However, it's not something that is proven with factual evidence behind it, but it is something that I do think is very important for people to see, and that is the reasoning behind why I'm bringing it before you today. So if you enjoy this video, smash the subscribe button, maybe share with some friends, leave a like, comment, and let's get right into the video. So first things first, this sort of blew my mind when I saw this the other day. Here we see there's a website, and this is from the Chinese government. This is their official URL, georgiabusiness.cn. And now that in and of itself is odd. I mean, it's not too much of an oddity. Evidently, Georgia is one of the leading ports for Chinese imports and stuff. However, just watch this.
China is a top source for imports and our third largest export market.
Brian Kemp.
We welcome thousands of Chinese visitors every year to the Peach State, and we are constantly helping to develop new opportunities for Chinese companies.
So I believe that these people talking afterwards state that what I had just said about the importance of the Georgia import and the businesses established within Georgia. Sort of odd in and of itself. I don't know which any other states that have their own Chinese government website. Let me run the Google Translate here. Sorry, I thought I had it on. So it says, welcome Chinese companies to settle in Georgia. Georgia has a thriving international community. The Georgia Economic Development Agency has representative offices in Qingdao and Shanghai. A first-class global business environment, preferential taxation and policy support, the most developed logistics network in the United States, a large number of skilled workers and emerging high-tech companies are all the reasons why Chinese companies have settled in Georgia. Not too much of a damning statement in and of itself. Here we have these claims are what make it a little bit even odder. Having Brian Kemp on there I thought was pretty mind-blowing in and of itself because he obviously recorded that specifically for this purpose. However, says Hisense's successful development in the United States is inseparable from the strong support of the Georgia Development Agency. So clearly the ties between Georgia and China go fairly deep. Says not only have we received strong support from Georgia and Atlanta, we also have a proud talent pool in Atlanta. Well, that's kind of odd. You know, things get a little bit odder the more that we read on. They obviously list here all of the companies that have settled there. So there's clearly a decent relationship between China and Georgia, to say the least. They also have another quote here. We will work with Georgia to continue mutual benefit, grow together, and continue to prosper. That was the one that sort of stuck out the most to me. Sort of blew my mind a little bit there. A lot of mind-blowing revelations here. I honestly couldn't even believe that there was a georgiabusiness.china website. It says here, international investment. The Georgia representative offices distributed around the world will do their best to assist Chinese companies to develop new business in Georgia. So clearly there's a large money pool it sort of allows Georgia to grow by China investing in there, and I wonder which sort of investments they made. Maybe investing in different political figures. As I said, conspiracy claim here. But sort of odd in and of itself. I recommend doing some research into this yourself as well. Because it's odd, to say the least. I think that anyone should be able to see that and say that it's an oddity. It says, by choosing West Georgia, Kia not only benefits from its excellent infrastructure construction, but also establishes close and cooperative relationships with future suppliers. So there are clearly ties between Georgia and China. A little bit odd there. However, we have some other things here that... Now, I really didn't want to bring this up. I was considering it. I seen this a while ago, and I really wasn't too sure that I should even make a video about it until I saw the China website page featuring Brian Kemp. So it says, Georgia Governor Kemp again calls for signature audit of election results, cites disputed video. So this is on December 4th that he calls for the third time for a signature audit of the ballots counted. All right, nothing too crazy there. I'm sure many of you guys knew that. However, like I said, conspiracy claim here, okay? Just follow along, trail along with me. Maybe you can connect the dots yourself, or maybe even find some evidence that sort of disproves this. I'm always open to hearing what people have to say, but I also like to provide people with information for them to do as they please with. So the 3-strike rule, we imagine. He called for a signature audit 3 times, I believe November 20th, December 4th. I can't remember the third one, but 3 times. And then this is the part I really didn't want to bring up, but Harrison Deal. He was a Leffler. I think that's her name, not Loeffler. It's Leffler. He was one of her assistants and was dating Brian Kemp's daughter. So he was 20-year-old Georgia senator's aide, and he was killed on Friday in a fiery car accident. This was December 4th as well, I believe. Or no, it was December 5th, the day after Brian Kemp for the 3rd time called for a signature audit. The 3-strike rule, I assume, and I really don't, like I said, this is a tragedy in and of itself. Really, I feel for the family, but I do think that it's an oddity. It says the Pooler Police Department reported that Harrison Deal, who was from Bullock County, was killed on Friday at about 10 a.m. in a crash on eastbound I-16 near Pooler Parkway. Pooler police rushed to the scene and noticed 3 cars on fire, and this was a huge flame, which is sort of even more odd because the flame was huge. It was almost like the whole roof on this car is gone. You can see the roof here, almost as if an explosion had occurred. There is a decent chance that cars will catch on fire from time to time, but that is not typically how this was described by people who had seen it from afar, the people who called the police. It was a huge fire with 3 cars involved in it. And it says in the accident, Deal was killed. 3 other persons were treated for minor injuries at the scene. And I believe that they need to be investigated, which I think should typically happen anyways in an accident such as this. However, for him to be the only one that died and the other people were treated for minor injuries, as he has close ties to Kemp, and this happens the day after Kemp calls for a 3rd time for a signature audit of the ballots, I really find that to be an oddity at the very least. And this also, and it's sort of understandable, this led, as Trump held that rally in Georgia to support Perdue and Loeffler, Brian Kemp said that he could not make it out there, which I understand. He is dealing with a tragedy, to say the least. It was his daughter's boyfriend. But it's still sort of odd that the death here made it so that Kemp would not travel to the location that the rally was being held at. And I can understand, it is sort of a personal issue, but I question whether he himself is scared of something, because it sort of seems like a message. Again, conspiracy claim here, but it sort of seems like a message. The 3rd strike, and this is what happens. His daughter's boyfriend dies in a car crash with 3 people, and it's a huge flame. Look at the area that it engulfed, this whole region here. You can look up the video from the flame, and it is monstrous. Typically, car crashes can result in fires, but people had declared it as somewhat of like an explosive fire. Like I said, I think this is the roof from that vehicle that was involved in the crash. Now that is pretty odd. Linwood also, he was the one who originally brought this to my attention and was the one who I was considering making a video of it about, and I really wasn't going to until I saw the Chinese government website for Georgia as well. And this person here says, this is much more sinister than just corruption. Brian Kemp calls for signature verification. The next day, his daughter's boyfriend dies in an explosive car crash. I don't believe in coincidences. And Linwood responds to that with, there are no coincidences. Everything is planned. When something does not make sense, search for truth. Every lie will be revealed. And I agree with that people should search for truth, and that's why I decided to provide provide information for people to do their own searching with. As I said, I would love for this to be disproved and to show that nothing sinister had happened behind the scenes, but it really is a tragedy. And for nothing to have come from it, at the least, I really do think that it would be important for people to investigate this and find the truth behind it all. However, I do think that the statement that there are no coincidences is a bit incorrect. There are definitely coincidences throughout history. A lot of weird stuff happens with so many people and so many different actions taking place across the world. Obviously, coincidences are gonna happen. I mean, I remember one time I was gonna go to my cousin's house. I was supposed to hang out with this girl afterwards, and I arrive at his house, and I'm talking to one of my friends and was saying, hey, I was supposed to meet so and so afterwards, so I'll probably leave at some time. And he's like, wait, you mean? And he says their last name, and he was like, they live here. And I was like, what? They're actually, so evidently I killed two birds with one stone in that action, because going to my cousin's house, she was actually one of the people who lived in that vicinity. So I was like, well, hell yeah. So coincidences do happen, oddities do happen. However, I find this to be really, really weird, especially considering that people like Brian Kemp want nothing to do with searching behind the scenes to find any evidence. They don't want to hear your side of the story. They want to throw your cases out. They don't want you looking at Dominion voting machines. They don't want you doing a signature audit. They'd rather we'll have a hand count audit, but we won't do a signature audit because what, Brad Raffensperger is the one I was meaning to say. Like, what is the purpose behind not allowing us to do a signature audit? I really do think that the ties here go a lot deeper than people know, and some true investigations should happen. But who knows if that'll happen? I'm just here to bring some information to the people for you to do with as you please. As I said, conspiracy, the Admiral conspiracy claim, check. I can't verify, or I can verify that these are all true things that happened, but I can't verify the ties between each one, of course. So that'll be it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.